All right, welcome in. This is recording the next morning, just hours since OU suffered its fourth loss of the year as OU loses last night to BYU in softball. Now, I'm about to say something that I didn't think I'd say at any point this year, and I don't know the last time that I've said it, but here it goes. OU softball is not good enough right now to win a national championship. I knew that wasn't going to feel good coming out. It didn't. It felt terrible saying that out loud. But it's true. Right now, OU softball, I know that in the polls they got a 1 next to their name or maybe even a 2 next to their name. But at this very moment, OU softball is not good enough to win a national championship. And that's not just me being trying to create an edgy storyline or hot take or anything like that, because that is the opinion of mine. Also the opinion of the head coach at OU softball, Patty Gasso. She said as much Friday night, like, look, right now, this team just isn't good enough to win a national championship. And it just feels so weird saying it because I didn't think I'd say it this year. They roll into the year with the nation's longest winning streak in OU softball history. We know the greatness. We've been used to the greatness chasing the four-peat. I didn't think I'd say this, and I don't know the last time those words have been uttered. But I think it's true right now. Now, I'm not going to sit here and harp on the negative with this team because let's state the obvious, okay? And then we'll come back to that big take that I just said. They don't have to be a team right now that is good enough to win a national championship. I think that we've seen in the past, not every year, but certainly some years at this point, mid-April, you're seeing an OU softball team say, yeah, they're really putting away teams. They're really kind of flexing here. Like, I remember years where Patty's kind of upset that they're only playing 5 innings instead of 7 innings. Like, we're run rolling everyone. I want to get down the bench a little bit more. I want to see a little bit more of our depth. That's just not what this team is right now. But they don't have to be right now. Every team is unique and different. And just because maybe a year or two ago they were really peaking at this time, that's not necessarily this team. And I know that there's a lot of leftover names from those teams, but this team doesn't have to be championship caliber right now. It's going to have to be in a month. It's going to have to change soon. This team's going to have to play better softball, more consistent softball. But do they have to be that version right now? No. And look, too, it's even after its 4th loss of the year, and I call it blue blood problems. If you've never listened to the Diamond Envy podcast, I highly suggest that you go find it on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Diamond Envy, just it's all OU softball. Talk a little national college softball as well, which I guess I'm supposed to ask you and remind you to smash that like button right here on this page if you're watching. But I call it blue blood problems. OU just lost its 4th game of the year, right? Like, I call that blue blood problems, that there's these crazy reactions that are going on right now. Now, I do think some of those are valid. Like I said, I don't think OU's good enough right now to win the national championship. Patty Gasso said as much. But they're kind of blue blood problems, and there is so much evidence still that this team can turn it around and still be good enough when it matters to win a championship. And why I say that is because, and this is kind of a 2-part thing. This is like the good and what needs to happen here moving forward. I know what Kinsey Hansen's all about. I know what Tiare Jennings is all about. I know what Jada Coleman's all about. I know what Riley Boone's all about. You get the point without me having to list every single player on the roster here. Is I know that they are championship worthy. I know when they get to Oklahoma City, they're extremely capable of playing their best softball, getting things together at the right time, and looking like the best team in the country. I know that because I've seen that for 3 consecutive years. That is in them. But that's just not what you're getting right now for this team. And that's just kind of why it's so puzzling what's going on right now. Because do I think that eventually they'll get back on track? I do, but I need to start seeing it because it's not happening right now. And I don't think anyone will argue that, well, OU softball is actually playing a little bit better than you think. Like, there are some things that are okay right now, but it's just not clicking like we're used to. Because we've seen what it looks like. We've seen enough championship teams by now, being fans of this program, we know what it's supposed to look like, and you can just see it. It just doesn't feel right now. So what does that mean? What's the root of the issue? Well, they have all these players that have won all these championships. They've got the number one recruiting class, stack on stack on stack. They've got some really young players that we like. They've got Kelly Maxwell, who looks like she's one of the best pitchers in softball right now. And we know they have the GOATs and more than two incredible assistant coaches. Like, what's the deal? What's happening? What's going on right now? What's the root of the issue? If they have the best coach and they have the best roster and it feels like they have the best everything, why are they losing on a Friday night, 9-4 at home against BYU? It's the $1 million question. Hearing Patty speak all weekend long, I can offer a guess. And she used the word gritty last night more than once. And she used it to describe her pitching staff on Friday night, like they need to be a lot more gritty. But I kind of think that's what this team needs. Now, I've seen that gritty in the past. You don't think Kinsey Hansen has some gritty to her? Absolutely she does. You don't think Jada Coleman has some gritty to her? You know she does. I don't know if this team lost that, if they need to find that again. But I just think that gritty mentality, blue-collar mentality, championship mindsets, maybe that's what this team needs to get back to get back to form to where it looks like they can win a national championship. Because, look, man, I know they're not hitting great right now. I know the pitching wasn't great last night. But does anyone really doubt that this team has enough talent to win another national championship? Of course not. Like, when this team is clicking on all cylinders, they're still the best team in softball. It hasn't happened as much as we'd like or we thought it would, but they're still the best team when they're clicking on all cylinders. And I think Patty kind of even said that last night. I'm excited to see when this team really hits and clicks on all cylinders because it just hasn't happened yet. And I agree with her. I think it's going to happen at some point. And when it does, I think we're all going to look at each other and say, yeah, this is not what it looked like in early April. This is not what it looked like in mid-April after a Friday night loss to BYU. We've seen championship teams before. This is it. And they've got time to do that, but they don't have a lot of time. I mean, we're getting kind of towards the end of the year. And now we have seen years, and I think maybe the best example of this is probably the year where G. Juarez really stepped up in the circle and carried OU in the circle to win a national championship. Is that, there's been some big question marks for OU going into the postseason. Forget mid-April like we're talking about now. I absolutely remember a year where is OU good enough in the circle to win a national championship? What's going on here? And Patty's making points in the regional and sitting Shannon Sale and sitting G. Juarez. What's going on here? Who are your main arms going into the biggest part of the season? And they figured it out, right? There's just been a few years where OU's really figured it out when they've had to. But I think it's a mentality thing right now more than anything. That's what I think it is. They've got to get back to that blue-collar champion mindset mentality. Kinsey Hansen said it last night. It's, think about the seniors on this team. And you know who they are. There's 10 of them, right? I believe there's 10 of them that are seniors. They've never really been kicked in the teeth like this before. And if you go back and kind of look at what's happened over their time at OU, what's been the final game for them every single time? Won a national championship. And they're on a losing streak right now that just probably feels really weird and extremely uncomfortable. Losing the last two in the series against Texas. You beat Wichita State earlier in the week. You beat BYU on Thursday night. But now you've lost 3 out of your last 5? It's insane, man. It's insane for a team, not just a program, but a team that can claim the longest winning streak in college softball history. Lost 3 out of their last 5. So this is unfamiliar territory. What's this team going to do about it? They can rebound from this. They can rebound on Saturday and go out and run roll BYU, and all of a sudden it's figured out. But they've got to make that choice. There's 2 choices you can make here. They can feel sorry for themselves. There's just so much pressure on this program. everyone expects perfection. And when it's not perfection, when we don't run rule everyone, then that's when people get upset, which is true. It's a reality. And Patty's talked about that before. There is an incredible amount of pressure with this program that doesn't exist in any other college softball program that's out there. But you can just say, it's hard, it's difficult, feel sorry for yourself, or you can choose greatness. And Kinsey Hansen said as much last night. Choosing greatness really isn't a choice. You just got to go do it. I'm excited to see, I'm very intrigued, what's going to happen here moving forward. Because as confident as I might be, and I'm not 100% confident because this team is just, they don't look like themselves right now. They're not playing top-notch softball. I think they'll get it together because there's so much evidence to prove that they will. But I'm fascinated right now, guys. Completely fascinated as to what's going to happen, how this team is going to respond after losing 3 of its last 5 games. They're not good enough right now to win a national championship. Can they be in 2-3 weeks? Absolutely. But I do think it's more of a mindset that has to change. And there's just been little kind of tidbits here and there that make you say, you know what, teams of the past probably come through in this spot. Even though this team went into last night's game not playing their best softball, we didn't think that was the case. I kind of went back to years past when Tiare Jennings hits the 2-run home run that ties it at 4 last night. I had the thought, because I'm so used to it, you probably are too, of, here we go. I know what happens here. Oh, you got down early, kind of a rough start, but Tiare hits a 2-run bomb. They're going to figure it out here, and they're going to end up winning this game, right? They might end up run rolling, I don't know, but they're going to end up with a comfortable lead. They didn't end up winning comfortably. They didn't end up winning at all. In fact, would they lose 9-4 last night? That's a team in the past that has, especially at home, right, in front of a crowd like that, they hit a 2-run bomb, they come back, the entire crowd is on top of the opponent. They get totally nervous. They don't know what to do. They kind of crumble. OU rises to the occasion. And again, they end up winning the game and maybe run rolling. We've seen that so many times in the past. Didn't happen last night. Give credit to BYU. They weren't scared. OU had all the momentum, the home crowd, the Friday night home crowd who was happy to be there. And BYU just kept responding and responding and responding. So give credit to BYU, but it just wasn't the response that we're used to for OU softball. Now, if you guys think I'm wrong, if you think, they've lost 4 games, dude, they are good enough right now to win a national championship. Let me know in the comments. If you don't think it's so much of a mentality right now, let me know in the comments, and I'll get to them on the next video. That's just a guess for me. I mean, I don't even know if you want to call it an educated guess. It's just listening to Patty speak last night, and she used the word gritty so much. I got to think that she just wants more of a gritty team. This team is full of such great human beings, right? That represent the right things, that sign every autograph after the game. And in no way am I saying they're so nice and that's why they don't have the gritty, because these same players have went about themselves on and off the field the same way before, and they've had the gritty. They just got to find that gritty, would be my guess right now. And with leaders like Kinsey Hansen, I think she'll bring it out. Jada Coleman, there's going to be loud voices on this team. They're not going to be looking around to see who the leaders are. I don't think that they're necessarily in search of that, to see if they figure it out here. But they've got to hit better. They've got to be more consistent. They've got to have better at-bats. And yes, they did a better job last night of drawing walks, which I think when you've seen the best of this team, that's what they're doing, is getting on base, drawing walks, making the opposing pitcher throw a ton of pitches. And that kind of happened last night. But the timely hitting, the big hit, just hasn't been there like years past. And I just think that comes along kind of with the gritty. If you bring that blue-collar mentality back, the pass the bat mentality, then you'll kind of get back to that. But let's see what they do from here on out. You can't say that you're not interested, right? You may think, this season's totally done. It's done for. They're not going to win another championship. You think they may just be fine. You're interested. You're always interested in OU softball, but definitely interested right now. They've got to hit better. Got to hit better. And this goes to kind of what I thought about this team and what was going to happen this year. I didn't think that we'd be talking about a point where they lose 3 out of 5 in the regular season. And I never thought that if we had to be critical about this team, it would be about the offense. That's the most surprising thing to me. The pitching wasn't great last night. It was one of the more poor performances OU's had in the circle this year. But I think all in all here recently, pitching's been okay. I thought the pitching was good enough to win a series against Texas. I think Kelly Maxwell's performing at a very high level right now. Shout out to her and her Thursday night performance. One hit shutout on her birthday in 5 innings. Kelly Maxwell's really good. I got a lot of confidence right now if Kelly Maxwell is rolling out to the circle to win a national championship. I feel good about that. But some of these other pitchers right now, they got to fall in line. They got to step up because it can't just be Kelly Maxwell to win a championship. It's got to be Kirsten Deal. It's got to be Kelly Maxwell. It's got to be Carly Keeney, Peyton Monticelli. Nowadays in college softball, you need multiple arms if you're going to go win a national championship. And we've seen that previously. I know Jordy Ball kind of carried this team last year. I know G. Juarez has done the same thing, but they're going to need multiple arms if this team is going to win a championship. So Nicole May, everyone else behind Kelly Maxwell has got to step up. But it's really like the offense right now. It's the seniors. Like you've got so many proven players on this roster, and I think it falls on them. Like I don't think the issues or what needs to happen moving forward is about the young players. I don't think it's about the young players on this team, or even the players that have been in this program for 2 or 3 years. I think it's the Kinsey Hansons, the Jada Colemans, the Tiare Jennings. Like those are the players that need to bring the best out of this team. They're going to be remembered around here forever. It might be remembered. It'll probably be remembered as the single best class in OU history. But how do you want to go out? Do you want to go out with a disappointing end, or do you want to go out saying, we won 4 championships in our time at Oklahoma? It's on them. It is on them to bring the best out of this team. Not only out of themselves, not just out of themselves, but it's up to them to bring the best out of this team. What you got? Bow up, as Patty's been saying. Patty's been saying a lot of things here over the course of the past week or so, just waiting for that team. She's waiting on it. She's doing everything she can, but she can only do so much. She's waiting for this team to bow up. She's waiting for this team to find the gritty. Will they find the gritty? Obviously, time will tell. But a fascinating game today, Saturday against BYU, and we'll see what they do here moving forward because Oklahoma State's pretty good. And like every other sport, you don't think OU or OSU softball wants to, and I don't know what the plans are moving forward, if they're going to play or not, or how much they're going to play. But if this is the last series for a while, you don't think OU wants to go out, or OSU wants to go out on top? Of course they do. Of course they do. So it's not just about winning the national championship. It's about winning the conference right now at this point because the race is a lot closer than it was a week ago. If you stuck around to the end, I appreciate you. I really do. Going to try to do more of these videos on YouTube. So like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll talk OU softball on this channel. I'll talk OU football on this channel. I'll talk OU recruiting on this channel. I'll really kind of everything when it comes to OU and a lot of college football as well. So you like the Sooners, you like college football, you like college sports in general, like and subscribe here, and we'll have a lot of fun. And drop some comments, and I'll make sure to get to those from time to time. In the meantime, Diamond Envy Podcast, if you're not subscribed to that already, I know I'm asking a lot of you today. I'm asking you to like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Go subscribe to the Diamond Envy Podcast. I know, but it's good OU content. If you're looking for some OU content on the internet, I feel like I got you covered there. So we'll talk to you soon. See if this team can get it done. They've got the leaders. They've got the talent. They've got the coach. They got the fans. They've got the everything. It's up to them right now. We'll see if they can pull it off.